Welcome back to the Lost Cause Ranch and what is another day in the life of a Land Rover hoarder. And we definitely fit that bill. What this series is just a little look behind the scenes of when we're not building stuff like the LR4 pickup. This is what happens in the day-to-day when you have 20-ish Land Rovers laying around. And this week is a little bit abbreviated. It is shortened because we are going out to Colorado for the Land Rover National Rally at the end of the week. But before then, we got some chores to do. That rough Discovery 2 that we bought a couple weeks ago, we need to kind of get a wrangle on what to do with that. So that's probably what we should do today. Should probably be Responsible Joe. But Responsible Joe's no fun, and Irresponsible Joe will come back a little bit later in today's video. It's funny that for all the Rovers around here, we seem to work on a lot of Toyotas. Thought these things were supposed to be the reliable ones, especially the Lexus variety. No, this is just a buddies, and we were just doing rear brakes. And thankfully, unlike the L405, we didn't have to worry about a lost wheel lock to get to the rear brakes. But speaking of the L405, we were getting this all prepped up to head out to Ouray for the Land Rover National Rally. I decided to just cruise out in comfort and just enjoy the time out there with this. This is more than capable to do most stuff that we're gonna see out there that week, and maybe we'll just hop in with someone who has, say, something with more power. But instead of doing something smart like just taking our 510 horsepower Range Rover out there and having fun with less worry, I went ahead and posted this up on Facebook. And boy, did you guys sure come back with loads of options. Would have been easier if you didn't, but I appreciate it. And more than likely, we're gonna make several trips out of these options. Just what a guy needs. I mean, if we're gonna make a trip, why not come back with something new, right? And now I'm spending Monday morning sorting through a list of messages and options, deciding what would complement the collection around here best. Hopefully we have that nailed down by the end of this video, and I'll let you know if we found something. I don't know what it's going to be, but stay tuned till the end. So this is pretty much the same every Monday around here. We thrash all weekend on things like the LR4 front bumper, which creates a little bit of a disaster with tools, welders, parts just kind of scattered everywhere. And we also just did the brakes in that Lexus, so we just need to get everything back in order. And we're gonna start with throwing some scrap away, which our little container is getting kind of full back here, but I've been putting off emptying that guy out because, as you know, we're planning on moving here soon, or at least hopefully soon. And when we do that, I'm gonna get a roll-off container brought in because we'll probably toss quite a bit of stuff. There's no sense in moving scrap. We'll just throw it away before we move it. See, every once in a while, I am smart, or at least I like to think I'm smart. We gotta unpack a little bit of the shop. We had to stuff everything in because we were having some big storms last night. Didn't want to ruin the new motorcycle. And I suppose we should probably clean this up too and put it back on the Range Rover so I don't lose it like the wheel lock. Much better. Cleaning up some more Porsche parts as well to get listed. And holy cow, are we big motorcycle guy now. This is pretty much just like a weekly rinse and repeat. Make a mess, get it all cleaned up, just so we can get ready to make a mess again. In a couple days, we're just gonna cut more of the LR4 apart and remake this mess, but it'll be a fresh mess. I mean, we're not gonna go full on and wash the floor just yet. We'll wait until we get back from Ouray for the National Rally to worry about that. And slight update on that, I think we secured something and we need to start making some lists, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I mean, I hope we have it secured because I wired the money. And I also have quite a bit of mess going on in the office because we've been rolling quite a bit of packages out lately. And this one, we had to get a little creative on Sometimes you got to build a box. Turns out I didn't have a specific size box for a Porsche 944 spoiler, nor did anyone in town. So we created our own. Kind of arts and crafts day around here. I should probably list that setup too. And speaking of packages going out, we got some shirt orders and some sticker orders that have been coming in. I really appreciate that, so does Chet. And always fun seeing people out there in the wild with the shirts and stickers. And we got everything loaded up in the postal delivery rig. The Range Rover. It is just the most useful. Land Rover parts getting delivered in Land Rovers. Or I guess Porsche parts getting delivered in Land Rovers. Our only real goal for this week is to sort through the old parts discovery. Yeah, that one we grabbed just for the front bumper. And just kind of grab some of the low-hanging fruit off it. This thing isn't gonna get like a stripped down, drag out parting of it because it's pretty well used up inside. There'll be some things we'll be able to grab. We'll grab some seat switches. We already grabbed the cup holders. Those are worth about 50 bucks. We sold the sunroof switch, $25 already. Not making money, we're just losing less money now. But cruise control switches aren't broken, so we'll grab that. But in all honesty, there's just not a lot that isn't destroyed on this. Like, yep. Broken. So that'll stay. A bunch of used drive shafts, those will just go in the scrap bin. That water bottle that's been sitting in there, that's probably a good way to get sick. We'll just throw that away. It's had the hinges replaced back here already, but those look like they're on their way out as well. This tail light has seen better days. We got a little stress crack, chip there. This side also broken. The good news is it also came with a set of 0304 taillights sitting in the back. Those are already pictured and listed. Along with those, it had some taillight guards. So it does have a few redeeming qualities besides just the bumper. Like the fact that we don't even have to unbolt the binnacle, which is also broken. I was kind of hoping that this would be in decent shape because they obviously break quite a bit. Just what they do, but it's not. So we'll just snag all the switches out of it and we'll make a box of Disco 2 switches to add to our box of Disco 2 switches. We have quite a bit of that stuff laying around. I probably should list some of it. It also has some goodies inside. We got a 12 gauge shell, a 223 round, and a 45. Interesting. You know, something I'm always intrigued at is how many of these Land Rovers I end up buying that have this level gauge. There is so many of them. Whoever invented that probably did well in the late 90s, early 2000s, or whenever that happened. And our real money's in the center console. Look at all that change that was left. The most shocking part of this discovery so far was with the way the rest of it looks, is somehow we have managed to have a good window switch and trim plate. I 100% didn't see that coming. And there's more change in there too. Just getting better and better all the time. Look at that guy. With what we're taking off now, though, we are making sure we are not disabling the vehicle. It still runs and drives, so I'd like it to be able to run and drive into the shop when we do the final part out, pulling the axles and whatnot. Speaking of the axles, still curious to see what it has for a rear limited slip or locker or whatever is going on there. These are pretty handy to have around. A lot of times those clips break. Rear view mirror is also nice to snag. It's not all distorted. The goop's still inside where it's supposed to be. I have a feeling there's going to be some cutting involved on getting these bolts off. They're rock sliders. I don't know exactly what's given me that idea. They got like 12 layers of bed liner on them. Perfect. And now for the thing we're actually after. Graceful. That's probably a two-person job, but it's off. So the rock sliders look like they've definitely been rock slid. I don't know what to do with these. They're still functional. I think we should repair some of it, but I think I may just drop these and the front bumper off at our sandblasting guy and just have a fresh start. The front bumper is definitely worth sandblasting and refinishing. Rock sliders, I mean, we don't have essentially much into them, and someone can get some use out of them. Other than that, we got our switches and whatnot pulled out. I think that is all we're going to pull until we are ready to make it non-functional. So I went ahead and made a little bit of a list for when we get back from Ouray that I can just dive in, tear off what we need and go, but pretty much everything left on here is going to make it not drive. So it's better off saving that for after the fact, because like we're going to take mass airflow sensor, ABS pump module, the fuse block, obviously the rear axle, and then once we take that apart, we can figure out what we have back there. Hopefully it is like a Detroit locker, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be like an ATB, just one of the torque biasing ones, which is better than nothing. So I think that is it for pulling this thing apart. We probably should try and be prepared, being we're going to fly out in a couple days. On to that. All right, so for the National Rally, we are camping in Ouray, and normally this would be like the start of what I'd bring along in the car with us. We got our Menards bucket of tools. We'd bring some extra fuel, air compressor, air down tool so we can air down and air up easily. Obviously, scan tool anytime you travel with a Land Rover. I like to have one of those. Being I'm going solo, I'd bring the little tent. Then we would bring the refrigerator and obviously some clothes and some snacks and whatnot. Probably a sleeping bag, maybe some sort of camp pillow. We'd bring a chair or two. Problem we're running into, we're flying to San Diego to pick up a vehicle to drive to the National Rally from San Diego, which means most of this stuff can't go. I don't think a 5-gallon bucket full of tools is a good carry-on. Neither is that. They definitely probably don't let you bring a jerry can full of fuel. So versus my normal way of going about traveling or anything in life is just like winging it and just kind of relying on what I've done in the past, it's not going to quite work out this way. I can't take a full vehicle load of stuff with me. So in something that is not typical to me, I'm going to have to actually like make a list. I'm leaving in 2 days. I need a list of what to bring and what we're going to have to buy on the road. What we're bringing, we're doing mini size stuff. Out of our 5-gallon bucket toolkit, we will bring our underpowered hour screwdriver set. That's got 10 millimeter and a bunch of bits on a nice screwdriver along with a ratchet. So that will take care of a lot of stuff. And the best part about it is it is under 7 inches, which TSA will let you fly with. What is also under 7 inches is our Wrecker Rick pocket pliers. This thing is actually more useful than you could ever imagine. Ted got me one of these when he ordered some, and it is comically sized, but also under 7 inches. So these two will go on our carry-on bag, and you guys know I'm budget-minded. I'm not cheap, I'm budget-minded. So we aren't bringing a checked luggage, because if I did, I would throw probably our sleeping bag and our tent in that, but it's like $60 to check a bag on my flight. I could just stop at a Walmart and buy another one of them. That also means we can't fly with our air compressor, but I can bring our air down tool. So that is going along with. And what's the TSA limit of liquids? Like 3 ounces. I don't think 3 ounces of fuel will get us very far, nor do I even think they'd let you bring 3 ounces of fuel. So no jerry can, no tool bucket, no air compressor. Scan tool, non-negotiable. That is going with. So we're condensed down to that so far. And being we are going to Ouray to go off-roading, another thing we're gonna be lacking, being we can't leave with all our stuff in the vehicle, is recovery gear. I think I can throw a couple soft shackles in. What I'm buying doesn't have a winch, I don't think. I guess I should look at pictures. I don't think it has a winch. I'll get back to you on that. That leaves us without a strap or a recovery rope, which is going to be too big and take up too much space, because we're gonna be gone for a week, so we need some amount of clothes, some amount of toiletries, and we just have a book bag and a carry-on to fill. So rope may be on the purchase list. Probably reliably buy a Harbor Freight one. I mean, we're gonna stop at Harbor Freight and get some more tools. The other thing I'd like to bring is fluids. We'll have to stop and buy fluids. I just need to really make a list to make sure I don't miss anything, because from San Diego to Ouray, there is some stretches where we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and it is an old Land Rover. This seemed like a much better idea before I started to actually like plan out the trip and what we need to take. This is exactly why I don't plan things, because the more you think about the stuff that I do, the less it makes sense. So if you just don't think about it, you don't worry about the consequences. So quick list, and then we can just get on the road. All right, so we're getting our list made up here. So far on what I think I can bring in my carry-on and personal bag, so it's like 2 backpacks for me, is cash cards, because we need cash in case we find anything cool to buy. You just never know when you're traveling across the country what you're gonna run across. I don't know if I'm gonna bring like drug dealer amount of cash. Don't need to raise any red flags. But on top of that, we'll get the scan tool, the underpowered hour kit, the pocket pliers, air down tool, a couple shackles of the soft variety. I don't know that they'd let me bring some metal shackles on the plane. Laptop card reader, because we're gonna be filming camera. Woo, that would have been bad. We're gonna be filming and editing while we're on the road. We need various chargers. We need headphones so I can edit on the plane. We need 5 or 6 pairs of clothes. I don't know. I need to, maybe not so much clothes, maybe just a bunch of underwear. Bunch of underwear. We're gonna bring our radio, I think, and then the camera. And on the buy section, recovery rope, because we're bound to get stuck because it's me. Zip ties, those fix everything. Maybe some sort of cooler. We're gonna be on the road for a while, and then we're gonna be camping out. It'd be nice to have some sort of cool beverage. I'll have to check out the situation when we get to the vehicle. I'm thinking, depending on what it is in the back, I don't remember off the top of my head what the rear floor situation is like in these, on whether we will buy another tent or maybe we can just sleep inside the vehicle. We should probably grab a sleeping bag, a camp pillow, and then like a tire plug kit. I would bring the tire plug kit, but I'm pretty sure this particular item in the tire plug kit would be a no-go on an airplane. We're gonna be close to Mexico in San Diego, so we may as well bring our passport, you know, just in case. Anything else? We'll kind of modify that list in the next day or two, but yes, we are going to the National Rally. We knew we were going to go to the National Rally. I kind of wanted to bring the LR4 truck. It's just not quite there yet. So, like I said, we were going to bring the Range Rover, the L405. But in the process of bidding on that Defender high cap last week, I thought, hey, that's in Dallas. If we win, we could fly down, drive that to the National Rally, and then somehow that makes sense from flying and driving 900 miles from Dallas to Ouray, and then driving 1,100 miles home to Iowa. That worked out. The triangle was pretty much the same in my brain as going from Iowa to Ouray and back. We didn't win the high cap, so that got me thinking. So we put up this post on Facebook, and a lot of you sent us messages. I may be reaching out because there are some of the things that were sent to me that I'm still interested in, even though it wasn't necessarily for the Ouray trip. One of them was just a little more unhinged than the rest, and that's what we need around here. And it's kind of a blind spot in my Rover collection, and something that could ultimately be said the first part of the Land Rover addiction, and it's something we need to tick off the list. So it may be a little bit unhinged. Some may even say it's crazy, but you'll have to wait, I don't know, a week or so, find out what it is. Just about getting ready to start cranking on some more of the LR4. We're gonna do a couple days worth of work on this before we fly out to San Diego. So we will catch you Sunday with LR4 truck videos. We need to get our actual clearance figured out in here. With that being said, appreciate you guys watching, appreciate you subscribing, and we will catch you in just a few days. Back to hoarding. Smart thing to do would be just to drive the reliable L405 out to Ouray, enjoy the week, and drive back. Instead, we just got to do it the complicated way.